Bonjour. Aujourd'hui, on va faire une leçon qui s'appelle la durée. La durée. La durée means the duration. Actually, in French, we have learned many prepositions, and those prepositions are at times very confusing. In fact, there is something called temporal prepositions, means those prepositions which kind of indicate the time and its duration and different aspects, and they are majorly used to express time. For example, à, en, dans, depuis, pendant, durant, and pour. Well, it is indeed very confusing because you have like à, en, dans, depuis, pendant, durant, and pour, like 6-7 prepositions only to indicate time. So there are a few rules that you have to keep in mind. We are going to do a very quick summary of French temporal prepositions. Temporal prepositions. Temporal means it comes from the French word temps. Temps means time. Temporal prepositions. Like a expresses the time at which an event occurs. Like a is basically the time on the clock or horological time at a certain time an event starts. Like nous partons à 8 heures. We leave at 8 o'clock. And you can say il va arriver à midi. He will arrive or he will come at midday, means at 12 o'clock noon, at noon. So, il va arriver à midi. Noon is 12 o'clock sharp. And nous partons à 8 heures, it is the clock-oriented exact time. So, à is used only for a specific time when an event or an action is taking place. On expresses the length of time an action takes, the length of time when the action takes place, or a month, or a season, or year. Like, le train a fait le trajet en 1 heure. The train has covered the distance in an hour. So, that is the length of time that you are explaining. Le train a fait le trajet en 1 heure. Il va partir en hiver. He will leave in winter, en hiver. But remember, when we were doing the seasons, you can also say au printemps. In that case, printemps is basically a plus le. That is a complete different context. But here, when you say en hiver, it actually indicates the month, time, or season. Je suis né en 2002 means I was born in 2002. That is another explanation of en, how you can use en. Like now, we are going to talk about dans. Dans indicates the amount of time before an action will begin. So, when you say something is going to start dans, then the duration 20 minutes, half an hour, 2 hours, 10 hours, you are talking about something which will be in future. Remember, nous partons dans 20 minutes means we are going to leave in 20 minutes, but that is a thing in future. So, for that particular amount of time that is an action is going to begin, you use dans. Il va dîner dans 1 heure. He is going to take his dinner within an hour. So, dans 1 heure means within an hour. Depuis. Depuis refers to the duration of something that is or was still going on. So, depuis. Nous étudions depuis une heure. We are studying since an hour. Le directeur parle depuis 5 minutes. The director has been speaking for 5 minutes. Il a travaillé depuis 10 jours sur ce projet. He has been working on this project since last 10 days. So, depuis 10 jours, remember, in depuis, either the duration of something is indicated and it is still going on, both ways. So, when you say le directeur parle depuis 5 minutes, means he is still speaking. Nous étudions depuis une heure means we have been studying for an hour. So, that have been comes in depuis. Il a travaillé depuis 10 jours sur ce projet. That means he had been working on this project for 10 days. So, you have to remember depuis refers to the duration of something that is or was still going on. Pendant and durant refers to the entire duration of an action. Nous avons fait les exercices pendant une heure or durant une heure. We have done or we did the exercise, like the exercises. So, we did the exercises, written exercises, pendant une heure means during 1 hour, or durant une heure means during 1 hour. Il a plu durant toute la soirée. It was raining during the evening, during the entire evening, la soirée. We have learned this word, la soirée. So, il a plu durant or pendant toute la soirée. So, pour is used only to indicate the duration of an event in the future, like dont, but it is very different. Il va voyager pour 15 jours. He is going to travel for 15 days. So, this pour can be replaced with pendant and durant. So, here it might be a little bit confusing, but pour cannot be used in the past like we have done for pendant and durant. How to use French prepositions depuis, pendant and pour. This has been a major confusion for many of us when we learned them first. So, depuis, pendant and pour. Using depuis, depuis means since or for. You talk in the present tense to talk about an action that began in the past and continues in the present. In English, this is indicated by present perfect or present perfect progressive. So, you have to remember that depuis is since, but depuis has a small difference. Depuis means since or for, but you are in the present tense, you are in now, you are talking now about something which started in the past. So, you are talking now which started in the past, and either the action is over or it is still going on. There you can use depuis. Depuis quand vous étudiez français? Since when are you studying French? J'étudie le français depuis 3 ans. J'étudie le français depuis 2019. So, here you have to remember depuis quand vous étudiez le français means you are still studying. J'étudie le français depuis 3 ans. I have been learning French for 3 years. J'étudie le français depuis 2019. I have been learning French since 2019. So, in these cases, what happens is, like, you have to remember the action is still on. So, there are some difficult uses as well of the word depuis. So, the difficult use of depuis Depuis can also indicate something that was occurring in the past when it was interrupted by some other action. Like, depuis combien de temps tu regardais la télé quand je suis arrivé? Your father is asking you, for example, you have been watching television, but since when you have been watching television when I arrived? So, depuis combien de temps regardais-tu la télé quand je suis arrivé? Why I am calling it a difficult use? Because do you see this verb regarder? It has a different spelling. It is altogether a different tense which we have not learned. We haven't learned imparfait. This is imparfait. So, we have learned present tense, passé composé and imperatif. And this particular form of past progressive or past continuous, we haven't learned. So, regarder is past continuous form, and that is why I call this particular thing as a difficult use of depuis, because we haven't learned the tense. You are not expected to learn it at this stage, but keep it in mind that depuis can be used also for some difficult situations, difficult for now because we don't know l'imparfait, the tense l'imparfait. So, but you keep in mind that if you come across something like il était en Inde depuis 2 ans quand je l'ai vu, this is again a very complex sentence. Il était, he was in India depuis 2 ans, since 2 years when I saw him or when I met him. So, these are the difficult uses of depuis, but keep it in mind because depuis is a word that you also use for something in the past and it was interrupted by another action. So, keep it in mind. Don't pay much attention at this stage, but do remember. Using pendant. Pendant means also for and refers to the entire duration of an action in the past or future with no relation to present. So, one of the major difference between depuis and pendant. So, depuis is when you are talking from present about the past, and pendant is you are not either in the present or past. The present is not related when you use pendant. For example, pendant combien de mois avez-vous étudié le français? For how many months have you studied French? Like, it doesn't mean for since when you are learning French. So, pendant combien de mois avez-vous étudié le français? J'ai étudié le français pendant 3 ans and it stopped. Je vais faire le yoga pendant 2 mois. I will do yoga for 2 months. I will do yoga for 2 months. And it has got nothing to do with the present. It is an action in the future or it can be in the past. Using pendant. Pendant means for and refers to the entire duration of an action in the past or future without any relation to the present. Remember, pendant followed by a noun means during. In this sense, it is synonymous with durant. That means, j'ai vu un film pendant la soirée means last evening I saw a film during the evening. So, j'ai vu un film pendant la soirée. So, pendant followed by a noun means during. Using pour. Pour is also a very well used, frequently used word in French. Pour is used for the duration of an event only in the future. Pendant can also be used in many of these cases. So, you see that pour and pendant can be a little bit interchangeable in some cases. Je vais habiter dans un village pour 2 mois. I am going to live in a village for 2 months. Il va voyager en Afrique pour 3 ans. He is going to travel in Africa, the continent. Il va voyager en Afrique pour 3 ans. Le concours est suspendu pour 2 ans. The competition is suspended for 2 years. Il va présenter son projet pour 1 heure. He is going to present his project for an hour. Je serai en Inde pour 2 ans. I'll be in India for 2 years. Although the verb in the final example is not in the future, the use of pour indicates that 1 year. So, we are talking about which is le concours est suspendu pour 2 ans. Okay? So, in that particular example, if the suspension is over, then you would have to use pendant, and if it is not over, you can still use it as pour. Let's be a little bit clear. That means when the COVID crisis hit the world, there was suspension of many things. So, if you want to say that the competition was suspended during COVID for 2 years, then you have to say le concours a été suspendu pour 2 ans pour le COVID. But that is a different use of for. But if you have to say that it is generally suspended for 2 years and with no relation to the present, then it will be le concours est suspendu pour 2 ans. And you don't know whether those 2 years are over. So, coming back to pour is the duration in future only. The French preposition pour usually means for, and it has a few other possible meanings as well, such as the duration of an event in the future. You can use pendant as well when talking about something in the future if you want to stress the length of the time. So, if you want to say, je vais travailler seulement pendant 4 heures aujourd'hui, that means this pendant is giving a stress on the duration. Je vais travailler seulement pendant 4 heures aujourd'hui. So, today I will be working only for 4 hours. In other words, pendant can be used, but pour can only be used for the future. So, pendant can be used for future or the past, but pour can only be used for the future. J'étais en France pendant 1 an. I was in France during 1 year. J'ai étudié le hindi pendant 1 semestre. I studied Hindi for a semester. Nous avons parlé pendant 1 heure. We spoke for an hour. So, in all these cases which are in the past, you cannot use pour. It has to be pendant. J'étais en France pendant 1 an. J'ai étudié le hindi pendant 1 semestre. Nous avons parlé pendant 1 heure. So, with this, we are coming to the concluding part of this particular lesson, which is very heavy in a sense, because we have learned there are many temporal prepositions in French like à, en, dans, pour, pendant, durant, depuis. And you might have already noticed that the temporal or the time aspect of the usage for these prepositions are very important. Like when we were saying the train has covered the distance in 2 hours en 2 heures is completely different than I am going to meet you in 10 minutes. Je vais vous rencontrer dans 10 minutes. So, the same in English, the prepositions are much easier in that way, like for, like pour, pendant, and depuis. Depuis is since, but pour and pendant or durant, these 3 words can be summed up in a single word in English, that is for. So, what I would suggest is like first think about whenever you are writing a sentence, whether you are addressing it from the present or it is not related to present. Because if you are talking about something in the present and some other action which took place in the past or which is going to take place in the future, then you have to decide how you can use, whether you can use pour, pendant, durant, depuis, or it is completely neutral from the present tense. So, coming back to the prepositions once again, depuis is used primarily for the past as we have seen, but it might have its effect till now in the present. Pour is primarily used something for future. So, I would request you try to write a few events in your life where you have to use all these temporal prepositions, depuis. So, you can say that I was born in that city, from that age I went to school, from that age I did these studies, since last 2 years I have been doing this thing, in coming days I am going to do a certain things. So, again, when you are going to travel from the past to the future, you will find it a little bit difficult in the beginning, but slowly you will understand which is the correct preposition that you are going to use in French. So, if you want to say, since my childhood I grew up in a village, it is depuis mon enfance j'ai grandi dans un village. So, you have to understand when you are saying depuis, it might be the case that you are still living in the village, or if you want to say that I have come to the city when I was 18, so depuis j'ai 18 ans, je suis venu dans une ville. So, try to write all these prepositions, try to use them in all the context possible. So, with this, I am going to request you as a home task, as a task to do it yourself, utilisez ces prépositions dans les phrases pour indiquer les différences. Use these prepositions in the sentences to indicate the differences between them. And with this, we are concluding this very thoughtful and insightful lesson on temporal prepositions. And je vous souhaite bon courage, bonne continuation, à la prochaine et au revoir.